Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Guitar Underground. I'm your host, Neil Santos, and I'm happy to be back here again with you to chat about guitar and celebrate being a musician and a guitarist. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of guitarists think that John Mayer knows hundreds of secret scales that the rest of us don't. Now, that may be the case, but I think in reality, it's probably that he often sounds incredible using the exact same 5 notes that you already know, right? The difference isn't the scale, it's what he does with it. Think about owning the world's best paintbrush doesn't make someone a great painter, right? Great artists create masterpieces with a few colors because they understand how to use them. Van Gogh could have made his art with crayons, and it would have been beautiful. So that's similar to what John does. John Mayer treats the pentatonic scale that way. Like he takes those simple notes, that simple medium, that simple palette, and he creates masterpieces with them. And today, we're going to look at 5 ways that John Mayer actually uses the pentatonic scales, not to copy his licks, maybe a few, but to understand his musical thinking, all right? And you'll walk away with 5 ideas that you can apply immediately to your practice and your playing, even if you know 1 or 2 pentatonic positions, all right? If you've been enjoying these conversations about becoming a more confident improviser, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. It's free and it helps out a lot. Every week we focus on practical ideas that can help you stop memorizing and start making music. All right, so let's get into it. Fact number 1 about how John Mayer uses the pentatonic scales, right? John Mayer doesn't escape the pentatonic scales, he explores it, One misconception is that Mayer's constantly switching into exotic scales, but most of the time, he's staying inside the pentatonic scale far longer than people realize. He's simply squeezing more musical expression out of those notes. Like you or I may panic after about 4 notes because you think you need something new, right? But Mayer often stays patient, He's like the old dog walking down to the sheep. Let's go down there and you know the punchline. Maybe you don't, but I'm not going to say it. You look it up. You're probably leaving the scale too soon. The problem isn't your note choices that you need more notes. It's that you're not exploring enough possibilities inside those notes. And that's where confidence comes from, trusting that small musical vocabulary deeply. All right? Freedom comes from depth, not quantity. So I have a clip here, and we can check it out. I think it's from his channel, John Mayer's channel, and I hope I don't get demonetized for this. This is for teaching purposes, YouTube, the algorithm, or whoever is checking these out. I'm simply teaching using this, so please be kind. All right, let's see. This is him. It says, making, I guess I just feel like, over 7 minutes of guitar solos. All right, so we're just going to check out the first bit of it. I think he really nails it in this first take. But let's give it a listen. All right, and we'll see. We're listening to see if he's going all over the place or if he's just kind of exploring the same 4 or 5 notes here. And I think we'll find that he is. All right, so let's check it out.
Okay.
So that was awesome. All right, so we can see that he's absolutely making the most use out of just a few notes there. So I'm going to roll it back and see if I can figure some of this out. I haven't transcribed this at all. All right, so we're in. Let me see what the chords are. It's C. It's descending. All right, so we're doing B, sorry. A, E, and I think they're all major. All right, and so he's played out the fifth there, kind of. Or, you know, so he's the fifth, the flat 7, and the 3. All right, he bends the third, the flat third, up to the major. Or not even. Just kind of like a micro bend. And back to the root. All right? And then he does the same note again, the same like little motif. Pause. Look at that big pause there. I would have been freaking out. Here. All right, he's developing the motif. He starts again the same way. What does he do? So he does 2 little bends, like on the 4, then the flat 3, then the flat 3 itself, into the root. I would have thrown the 7th in there. And yeah. He goes back to the flat 3. Pretty cool. This. How awesome is that, dude? All right, so what he's doing there, I've never seen this. It's kind of like Eddie Van Halen-ish, but with the cooler note choices, I guess. You know, Eddie would do the or whatever, but so what he does is goes from the root to the 4 and bends that up, then taps 3 frets up. He taps it. All right, then tap on the 12. So all right, if you're listening at home, we're bending the 9th fret on the G string. So that's the 4th of the B that we're B minor pentatonic we're playing in. All right. So he bends that 9, taps the 12, slides the 11, and then releases the bend. Back to the 4th. That's awesome. I'm stealing that, John. I'm sorry. You want to make sure you get that bend all the way released before you untap to the, you know, on the 11th to go back to the 9th. That's cool. It's almost like, reminds me like a keyboard lick someone would do with their bending thing, like Dream Theater. Very cool. All right, so. And then he slides up and bends at the 11. Ah. Okay. he kind of double bends on that 11, like when he's bending the 9 and tapping the 11. All right. Still the flat 7 in the root is what he does, just an octave up. Wow. Now he's moved up to the 4th shape. So you can see that I want to move on here because that's just fact number 1, right? But you can see that he is just kind of developing, just using just a few notes and adding vibrato and tweaking them and stuff like this. That tapping note was worth the price of admission. You got to admit, that was cool. All right, so that's fact number 1. Fact number 2, he thinks like a singer, right? John Mayer rarely sounds like he's just running patterns. He's not going... Like there's a bit of that in there, but his phrases breathe, you know, they have pauses in between, like that giant pause there. I think any guitar player that's strictly a guitar player would have anxiety just sitting around and being like, wow, people don't think I know what I'm doing or I've messed up at this point. But he let it breathe and lets the listener listen to the band, and then it comes in again and they're refreshed and ready to hear more, you know? So he has these questions and answers and he leaves space. And I think it's the fact that John is also a singer, you know? I don't know if you've ever, as a guitar player, tried to write melody lines for like a song. It's tough. Like all my melody lines I try to come up with, they sound like guitar solos. You know what I mean? Like they don't sound like a singer would sing, you know, unless I'm away from the guitar and I have chords and I've recorded them. Because then I can like just listen to him and sing what I feel like should be there. It makes it a little easier, but we're talking about the reverse. So you're playing guitar and you want to play and choose notes and phrase like you're a singer. And pausing is a big part of that. Yeah. So yeah, like, what does it say? Many players fill every measure with notes because silence feels uncomfortable. I would have been freaking out if I paused that long. And I would have... assume that the guy running the board there is going to look at me like, you want to do another take or something? Like, did you run out of ideas? You just started. But it's part of the idea. The pause, the silence was the idea, and it built anticipation. So, yeah, that's number 2. Fact number 3, he targets emotion through bends and vibrato. And we saw that in that cool tap, right? But also he's using bends all over the place. You know, bending that 3rd every time. And when he, bends it, then he'll hit the 3, put vibrato on it, and vibrato on the root, you know? Bending the 4th. That's a little quick. You cut it off with your palm. So all that type of stuff, and then you got the... And I like those little things. Like, that's why I was mentioning I would probably play the flat 7 after it, but he went to the flat 3, and it's the same idea, right? If you just stop on the root at the end of your thing, like... and then you stop there and don't do anything, it kind of finishes it. Right? It kind of just puts a period on your sentence. But if you go, that turns that period into a comma, right? And now you can continue. Now, there's more coming, right? Because you didn't resolve. You left on an unresolved note. Or whatever. Or same with the flat 7. You go, oh, there's more coming. So that's the idea. Always be playing with vibrato and bends. Not only does that add emotion, but that's kind of your signature, your fingerprint, a sonic fingerprint as a guitar player. Like, oh, that's so-and-so. I can tell by his vibrato. or his bends. That's where your own personality is going to shine through a lot. Yeah. So like it says, two players can play identical notes. The one with expressive bends and vibratos sounds completely different. And Mayer spends enormous attention to note delivery, because it's such a part of, he's so well schooled in blues, blues playing, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all the blues guys, man, Clapton, he's played with them all, Derek Trucks, geez. So, he is very aware of the power of expressing yourself through vibrato. Let me see. Great phrasing creates confidence because every note feels intentional. The note isn't the message, it's how you play it. All right, some notes I wrote here. So that's fact number 3. Fact number 4, he connects pentatonic positions instead of living inside one box, right? So we saw that in where he's playing. And then he goes up to here. He did that's in the second shape of B minor. He goes to that flat 7 root there to kind of start moving up. And then he goes all the way up to the 4th shape. Something like that. So he's not just staying in this first box because he wants to create emotion and he wants to create energy. And by going up the neck, he's doing that. You know what I mean? And so you don't want to get stuck in that one box. So if you let's watch him again and see how he's connecting it. All right, let's go back to the tape. Back to the footage, please. He's still messing with those same motifs. It's in shape 4 now. Let's say he played down there. Yeah. That's what he does. Does something like that. All right, and he's moving down the box there. See? I don't know, something like that. I don't want to spend all my time here transcribing them note for note. I could do that, but it might be boring for you guys. What we're looking at here is actually just the concept, right? So right there, he's in the 4th box. So you've got that kind of thing. And then you can move that down to the 3rd box, down to the 2nd box, down to the 1st box. So you can make resolve it. That's the idea, is you can slide through boxes, or you can just take that same one little thing and just move it right down the shapes. You have to be kind of aware of the shapes and kind of have the ability to see them. But practice with 1 or 2 shapes. We'll get into that. Practice tips in a second. So yeah, don't get stuck in a shape. That's tip number 4. Or fact number 4 about John. That's what he does. He doesn't get stuck. He's very mobile. All right. Fact number 5, he reacts to the band instead of playing memorized ideas. And this is huge. And this is why I'm not too hung up on showing you what he's playing, right? Like I don't want to get too into the weeds with that, except for that one tapping lick. All right, because that was awesome, and I had to get that. But the idea is what you want to kind of grab. You know what I mean? And I've seen John talk about this in a video. If you ever seen it, look up John Mayer iceberg theory. I think that's what it was. Where he's talking about, okay, you learn a lick, right? Like say you learn that 4-4-3 lick, right? Where you just do a bend here and a bend there, and then to the like resolve it. Now that's the tip of the iceberg. That's what you can see. That's the one lick. But he says take that and explore below it. Like try that sort of idea. Just bring it around the neck. Bring it here to the root in this flat 7. That's the idea, you know? So take the concept and have a whole bunch of those. And what that's going to allow you to do is listen into your band, what they do. Maybe the drummer like hits a separate, like an added hit on the snare that creates this cool energy. And then you can kind of react to that, right? And you're not going like, oh, I know this one lick that I learned and it's 12, 15, whatever, you know, like, no, you just go, okay, just react to it and you'll have the chops there so they get he'd be like, or something, I don't know, like it depends on the style, whatever, but to add some elements to your own playing that mirror that, or if you can hear that they're ramping up the energy, then you can ramp up the energy in your lick. You're not saying like, oh, I memorized this thing and we don't go more energy here. There's not more energy here. It's less, or it's maintained. And you know, like, no, dude, just flow with it. And all the greatest musicians I know that I talk to, and they're all about, they call it having big ears, you know, and you listen to the rest of the band and you say, oh, all right, I see what they're doing. And you react. And it's more of a conversation that way. So that's where we want to try to get to, if that makes sense. All right? Cool. So that's fact number 5. He reacts to the band. He changes his phrasing depending on the groove, the drummer, the bass player, the vocal. His solos are conversations. What if while he's soloing, the singer goes, na 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 na? So he goes, you know. Oh, of course, I just played the same thing. What I say about my lyrics my vocal melodies being guitar licks, but, you know, like. And you can kind of mimic that, you know, instead of like, no, that's not what I practiced. Please stop. You know, stop being your best self. No, it's going to force you or him to be their best self and enjoy playing together with humans. Cool. All right. So there's 5 facts about how I perceive that John Mayer approaches the pentatonic scale, for what that's worth. And we've come to the middle of the show, middle of the podcast, where I have to do obligatory advertise read, because this episode is brought to you by Pentatonic Way, which I created. It's a system to understand the neck in a very intuitive, simple way, using things you already know, chords and scales you already know, to play at a very high level. And I'll do the read now. This is actually one of the biggest reasons I created the free Pentatonic Way personality quiz. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it helps identify the biggest things that's holding your playing back. Maybe you're stuck inside one box, or maybe you're overthinking theory, or maybe your phrasing just needs more structure. Once you finish the quiz, you'll also get a free 3-lesson email course that's tailored exactly to what you need to work on next. It's designed to give you a clear starting point instead of guessing. So if that sounds helpful, you can find it at pentatonicway.com/personality. I'm trying to do those like really fast legal jargon at the end, but I don't have anything to say because it's free and you can check it out. But all right, cool. Let's get back to it. Here are 5 practical tips you can use to start including this John Mayer-ish sort of approach to pentatonic into your practice and your playing today. All right? So tip number 1, solo using only 5 notes. So pick one pentatonic position, limit yourself to only 5 notes for an entire backing track. Instead of adding notes, add expression. So I have a little track here, and it is a John Mayer-ish backing track. Hold on. There we go. So let me try to do this. 5 notes. Hold on. I'll figure out how to use that. All right, so that's the idea. That's the idea, and I tried to really shoehorn that tapping idea in there. That's how you figure things out, right? You go, oh, does it work here? Nope. Does it work here? Nope. But I'll get it. I'll get it. Stay tuned. So that's one idea. Try to stay just right in the same box. You know, use that sort of motif idea. Repeat things, and that's going to help you kind of get the most out of the scale. When you have limitations, it encourages creativity, right? You're going to have to try to wring the most out of you can out of those 5 notes. So here's one. Tip number 2, sing every phrase before you play it. All right? So this isn't the easiest for me to do, but I'm going to try it. Hum or sing a short idea, then find it on a guitar. This naturally produces more Mayer-like phrasing. So let's see. See if it's true. All right. Something like that. All right. So I tried. I think I did all right. And then at the end, I just did a lick I know, right? I always go to those little Nino-ish string skipping things. If I want a burst of speed that I know is going to sound kind of cool, right? 3s over 4s, time-wise, very cool, triplets. But yeah, for the most part, I think it sounded good. All those notes happen to be in the pentatonics or bending out of the pentatonics. So I think this sort of exercise is definitely going to help you play more vocal-like, right? And that's going to help you sound more Mayer-like, which everybody would like. All right. Tip number 3, practice one bend for 10 minutes. Now, this is a big ask, but choose one whole step bend and focus on reaching the perfect pitch, vibrato, sustain. All right. You can do this with or without a backing track. But when I try to teach students to practice their bends, this is a trick that I use. All right. So instead of just bending, right? Say you're in D like we were. Instead of just bending and try to guess where it is, slide, right? Slide a whole step up from here. Now bend that note so you hit that. Right? Or a release bend where you slide down. It's going to help train your ear, but it's also going to help train your fingers, right? Like, especially with the release bend, because you got to already be bent there. You got to know your guitar enough to know, like, all right, that's a whole step. That's a whole step. And if you can get that every time or nearly every time, you're going to be doing all right. Now you can also put a vibrato at the top of the bend, which I like to do sometimes. Add a lot of emotion that way. Pretty cool. It can be like, sometimes I like to do, non-uniform vibrato at the top to sound like really kind of out of control or unhinged. It's like... something like, I don't know, like someone almost falling off the edge of a cliff or something. They make that noise. But that's something people don't expect, like, and they go, wow, that's unique or whatever. So don't forget to break rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't forget to be like, oh, no, I can't. I have to. My vibrato always has to be beautiful or unnoticeable. Like sometimes vibrato is like that. In my head, I think it's like similar to either film music. Like if you notice the film music, it isn't working for the most part. You want it to be underneath the scene and it's just affecting you emotionally, right? Or it's like drop shadow. I'm a graphic designer as well. And like, if you notice the drop shadow on something, which is like, if you had a picture and you had drop shadow, it's like a little fake shadow that's underneath it. Makes it look like it's floating over the page or something or in front of something. If you notice it, then it's not working. It's too much. It's not natural, But what I'm suggesting is sometimes you don't want it to be natural and it can be a choice, an artistic choice. So something to think about. But yeah, try bending 10 minutes straight. I'm watching. If you do less than 10 minutes, I'll know. And it won't matter because I still love you. All right. Tip number 4, connect only 2 positions, right? Forget all 5 shapes. If you're not used to switching between the different boxes, just do 2. Pick 2, all right? My suggestion is probably, like the first position, because everybody kind of knows that. We'll do it in D here. And then you can either go 1 position up, which is cool, which is the second shape, or even 1 position back, which a lot of people don't really play, but John does. Now, just pick one of those and work on going between them, all right? So let me try what my handy-dandy backing track. Nope. I'll try go to the fifth string. All right, cool. You know, if you're not used to doing that stuff, one way you could do it is slide in between them, you know. Try to pick different strings to slide on. Say, I'm going to slide on the fourth string down, which may be weird, right? But it's a bigger slide, minor third slide. But it'll give you an interesting sound, you know? Most people slide with the whole stack. Kind of a cool sound. Or you can just try to play the same thing in both positions, right? So if you're just doing like a repeating thing, for example, because that's probably the easiest thing to start with is... Something like that. Just come up with a little idea. Like that was just kind of like what he did in the solo. Second shape, first shape, second shape, first shape. I don't know when you do that, but I mean, it kind of, you might do one or two of those and go into something else, but it's good to practice that sort of movement, right? In case you ever need it. Like we're talking about, like don't memorize things, play concepts, right? And combine them. So yeah, try just two shapes, try to find different bridges in between them. And then, you know, expand later. You're just building up your familiarity with those two shapes. And once you feel comfortable with that, add another shape, you know? Cool. Tip number 5, leave more space, right? This is a great one. Challenge yourself to play one phrase, then force yourself to wait. Count 2 beats. 1, 2, then answer your own phrase if you can, like if you can think of something. So let me try that real quick. I know we're getting long on the video, but this is a good one. And it's one us guitar players sorely need, right? So. 1, 2. Sorry. John, if you're watching this, much better than this typically. Wouldn't that be something? Anyway, closing up. John Mayer isn't magical because he knows secret scales like he might, but he's magical because he makes simple ideas sound deeply musical. You know, that's something that every intermediate player can learn from. If you've been feeling stuck lately, don't mistake familiarity for limitations. The pentatonic scale still has plenty left to teach you. Trust me, I've been deeply obsessed with it for a decade or more now. Sometimes progress isn't about learning something new. It's about finally hearing what's been there all along. So I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you noticed about John Mayer's playing that you'd like to develop in your own solos? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe and consider sharing it with another guitarist who's feeling stuck, because you never know, it might be exactly the encouragement that they need. The player who sounds the most expressive usually aren't the ones using more notes. They're making better creative decisions with fewer of them. All right? I'll leave you there. Have a great week, everybody. Keep on picking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Guitar Underground. Take care.